The 1980s were the golden age that redefined the NBA. It all began with the arrival of Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers and Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won the MVP of the regular season for the sixth time in his career. While in San Antonio, George Gervin finished as the leading scorer. But the real drama was reserved for the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Bird's young Celtics collided with the Philadelphia 76ers, eliminating Boston in 5 games. In the Western Conference Finals, the story was different. Magic and Kareem's Lakers rolled through like an unstoppable force, crushing the reigning champions, the Seattle Supersonics, claiming their spot in the finals. The battle for the championship was set. In Game 1, at the Great Western Forum of Los Angeles, Kareem delivered the verdict. But the Sixers roared in Game 2 to even the series and bring the war to Philadelphia. At the Spectrum, Games 4 and 5 were wild back and forths. One victory for each side left the series even at 2 games apiece. Back in Los Angeles for Game 5, the unthinkable happened. Kareem tore his ankle. Anyway, the captain returned to the court limping, leading the Lakers to an epic victory that put them one step away from the title. But the cost was high. Kareem would not be able to play for Game 6. Back to Pennsylvania. Game 6 in Philadelphia felt like a death sentence. Without the captain, the Lakers were cannon fodder for Dr. J and Darryl Dawkins. But then, rookie Magic Johnson did something nobody expected. Magic jumped for the tip-off. He played center, point guard, and forward. While Jamal Wilkes delivered one of the most underrated performances in NBA Finals history with 37 points, Magic posted a 42 points and 15 rebounds performance and became the youngest player ever to reach the NBA Finals MVP. Paul Westphal became champion in his first season as an NBA coach. The Sixers, in disbelief, watched a 20-year-old kid steal their soul in their own home court, as the Lakers were the new NBA champions. The following season, in 1981, Julius Erving was named MVP of the regular season, while Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz was the scoring leader. In the playoffs, the Boston Celtics got their revenge against the Philadelphia 76ers and eliminated them in a tough 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets, led by Moses Malone, became the first team with a losing record to reach the NBA Finals. In the finals, the Boston Celtics, led by Larry Bird, won Game 1 against the Rockets, despite Robert Reed's 27 points performance. However, Game 2 saw the Houston Rockets, led by Moses Malone, took a valuable victory in the Boston Garden. With the series moving to Houston, the Boston Celtics crushed the Houston Rockets in Game 3, thanks to Cedric Maxwell's effort. Nevertheless, the Rockets knew how to recover in time and won Game 4, tying the series at 2 games apiece. Back at the Boston Garden, Cedric Maxwell led the Celtics to another thrilling victory. leaving the championship just in win away. Game 5 was set at the Summit in Houston. A great performance by Larry Bird led the Celtics to secure the long-awaited title for the Massachusetts franchise. And Cedric Maxwell was named Finals MVP. By the 1981-82 season, the Los Angeles Lakers consolidated the Showtime style. A fast, spectacular, and glamorous basketball, led by Pat Riley on the sidelines and Magic Johnson on the court. Moses Malone, from the Houston Rockets, won the season MVP. George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs finished the season as the leading scorer. In the playoffs, the Los Angeles Lakers reached the finals after eliminating the San Antonio Spurs in 4 games. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics faced the Philadelphia 76ers for the 3rd consecutive year. The Sixers, led by Julius Erving, managed to eliminate the defending champions and Larry Bird in a series that extended to Game 7. The 1982 NBA Finals began at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. With the Los Angeles Lakers stealing away the win in Game 1. And the home team winning Game 2. In Games 3 and 4, the Lakers secured 2 consecutive victories on their court, giving them a 3-1 series lead. Back in Philadelphia, in front of their fans, and led by Andrew Toney, the 76ers defeated the Los Angeles Lakers, making the series 3-2. Back in Inglewood, Los Angeles, California, Jamal Wilkes guided the Lakers to victory in Game 6 of the series. And Magic Johnson was named the NBA Finals MVP, giving the Lakers their 2nd title in 3 years. In the 1982-83 season, the Houston Rockets traded their MVP, Moses Malone, to Julius Erving's Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers dominated that season with 65 wins, and Malone was once again named the regular season MVP. Alex English of the Denver Nuggets earned the scoring title. Moses Malone said the Sixers would win the title series in 12 games with his famous faux prophecy. After eliminating the New York Knicks and Milwaukee Bucks, the Sixers reached the finals once again. The Lakers, who had defeated the Portland Trail Blazers and the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, would be their opponents again, repeating the same matchup for the 3rd time in 4 years. However, this time, the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Moses Malone, Julius Erving, Andrew Toney, and Maurice Cheeks, took the victory in the first matchup of the series. Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Lakers hoped to secure a win at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. But Moses Malone was not willing to lose, crushing the Lakers at Game 2. the series moved to Los Angeles, with Philadelphia holding a 2-0 lead. The Lakers needed a win, but Malone's 28 points and 19 rebounds were too much to overcome. In Game 4 of the series, the Lakers could do nothing against the drive of the Sixers, who swept the Lakers 4-0 and were crowned NBA champions. And Moses Malone, after sweeping the Lakers, was named the NBA Finals MVP. The Philadelphia 76ers won their second title after the one they won in 1967, when Wilt Chamberlain led the way. In the 1983-84 season, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the NBA's all-time leading scorer by surpassing Wilt Chamberlain's record. Meanwhile, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz claimed his crown as the league's top scorer. Larry Bird led the Boston Celtics to the best win record in the league that year and won his first regular season MVP. In the playoffs, the Lakers advanced through the Western Conference, crushing opponents on their way to the finals. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics overcame grueling physical battles against the New York Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks to meet their destiny. For the first time since they were in college, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird faced each other in the NBA Finals. What followed next was not a basketball series, it was a war. With the Game 1 set at the Boston Garden, the Lakers struck first, led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, stealing home court advantage. Game 2 seemed decided for LA. But then a miracle happened. The Celtics stole an impossible ball from rookie James Worthy in the final seconds, forcing overtime that brought the Celtics back to life, allowing them to tie the series. The series moved to Los Angeles, where the Lakers humiliated Boston in the Game 3 in a blowout win by 137-104. It was then that Larry Bird, wounded in his pride, called his own teammates sissies. The response in Game 4 was brutal. The series had turned into a battlefield. There was no longer any respect, only the desire to win. The game went into overtime, and Boston, amid the hostility, tied the series. Game 5 went down in NBA history as the Heat game. In a Boston Garden without air conditioning and temperatures above 35 degrees, the players were suffocating. Kareem needed a blood transfusion, but Larry Bird delivered a legendary performance to bring the Celtics one step away from the championship. In Game 6, the Lakers secured the victory on their home court, led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 30 points. Everything would be decided in Game 7 at the Boston Garden. In a stifling electric atmosphere, with police surrounding the court to prevent a rush, Larry Bird's Boston Celtics and a stellar Cedric Maxwell overcame a powerless, tragic Johnson-led Lakers. Boston was crowned champion in the most-watched finals in history. Larry Bird was named NBA Finals MVP, settling the debate that year. The rivalry had only just begun, and the NBA would never be the same. That same year, in the 1984 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls selected Michael Jordan with the 3rd overall pick. In his rookie season, Jordan began to establish himself as the dominant force with the Chicago Bulls and won the Rookie of the Year award. Larry Bird claimed his second season MVP, and Bernard King of the New York Knicks finished as the top scorer. In the playoffs, the Los Angeles Lakers eliminated the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics dominated the Philadelphia 76ers, setting up a rematch in the finals with the LA franchise. The Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers faced each other for the 9th time in the finals history. The 1985 NBA Finals began once again at the Boston Garden. Larry Bird and Scott Wedman led the home team to a crushing 148-114 victory in a game remembered as the Memorial Day Massacre. In Game 2 of the series, a confident Boston Celtics team allowed the Lakers to steal the win 109-102. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 30 points and 17 rebounds proved more decisive than Larry Bird's 30 points. Game 3 would take place at the Great Western Forum of Los Angeles. Led by their captain and James Worthy, Big Game James, the Lakers imposed their dominance. In Game 4, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Dennis Johnson surprised the Lakers, regaining home court advantage with a victory decided in the final seconds, thanks to a game-winner shot hit by Dennis Johnson. However, the Lakers won Game 5 in LA. With memorable performances from Captain Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Big Game James, and Tragic Johnson. The Celtics would have to win 2 straight games at the Boston Garden if they wanted to repeat as champions. However, the Lakers, who up to that point had an 0-8 record in finals series against the Celtics, achieved victory in Game 6, breaking the curse on the Boston Garden. With 36 points from an unstoppable Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and shattering the biggest psychological barrier for the Purple and Gold franchise, who were crowned NBA World Champions of 1985. The Lakers became the first visiting team to celebrate a title in the legendary Boston Garden. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was named the Finals MVP after giving a basketball masterclass at 38 years old, becoming the oldest player to win this award. The following season, Larry Bird won the regular season MVPs for the 3rd consecutive time, leading what many consider the best team in history to a 67-15 record, being unbeatable on their home court. Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks won the scoring title. In the playoffs, the Lakers and Celtics were favorites to face each other again in the finals. In the Western Conference, the Lakers easily eliminated the San Antonio Spurs in the first round, and the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference semifinals. In the first round of the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics faced Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, who in the second game wowed the entire world by scoring 63 points at the Boston Garden. Larry Bird described him as God disguised as a basketball player. Although the Celtics ended up winning the series, advancing once again to the finals after defeating the Atlanta Hawks and Milwaukee Bucks. In the Western Conference Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers faced the Houston Rockets, led by Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson, the Twin Towers, winning the first game of the series. But the Rockets won the next 4 games, including the 5th game in LA with a game-winning shot by Ralph Sampson in one of the biggest upsets of the decade. The 1986 NBA Finals began with Boston showing why they were the favorites. They won the first 2 games at the Garden with relative ease, with Larry Bird leading the way. However, when the series moved to Houston, the Rockets showed their pride. In Game 3, Olajuwon and Sampson dominated the paint and secured a close victory that gave them hope. But that hope quickly faded in Game 4. It was a tactical and defensive duel where Larry Bird scored a decisive basket in the last minute to put Boston up 3-1. Game 5 is remembered for its physical intensity. The Rockets refused to give up, and Ralph Sampson ended up being ejected after a fight with the Celtics point guard, Jerry Sixting. Houston won that game with an Imperial Olajuwon, bringing the series back to Boston. Game 6 was a historic showcase. Larry Bird left no doubt about who was the best player in the world at that time. He recorded a triple-double with 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. The Celtics dominated the Rockets from the first quarter, ending the game with a full celebration on their court. It was the 16th title for Boston and the 3rd for Bird. Additionally, it was the resurgence of Bill Walton, who after years of constant injuries was able to win one final ring contributing from the bench as the league's 6th man of the year. It is remembered as the pinnacle of team basketball, a team where everyone knew how to pass, shoot, and defend. In 1986-87 season, the Los Angeles Lakers, led by Magic Johnson, who had an outstanding season to win his first season MVP, achieved the best win record that year, with 65 wins and 17 losses. Michael Jordan finished the season as the league's top scorer. However, in the playoffs, the Chicago Bulls were eliminated by the Boston Celtics in the first round. The playoffs were an emotional slaughter, especially in the East. The Boston Celtics, weakened by injuries but with unbreakable pride, had to go through hell to survive. The conference final against the Detroit Bad Boys was a civil war. It was the series of the legendary steal by Larry Bird off a pass from Isaiah Thomas, a play that saved the Celtics dynasty in a grueling Game 7. Meanwhile, in the West, the Lakers' showtime was a machine of annihilation. With a record of 11 wins and just 1 loss in the playoffs, they eliminated the Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, and the Seattle Supersonics. The Celtics and Lakers faced each other for the 3rd time in 4 years. It was the tiebreaker for the throne of the decade. The Lakers struck first, with a speed that Boston couldn't match, taking the first 2 games at the Inglewood Forum. But back at the Garden, the Green Mystique responded in the third game, reminding the world that a champion should never be counted out. Then came the fourth game, the moment that defined an era. In the final seconds, with the Lakers down by 1 in the heart of Boston, Magic Johnson received the ball, and in a poetic tribute to his mentor Kareem, Magic rose and launched a junior skyhook that sailed over the Garden and went in clean. A hook to Boston's heart that put the series at 3-1. Although the Celtics won Game 5, the series returned to Los Angeles for Game 6. There, in front of their fans, the Lakers unleashed all their fury. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, at 40 years old, was still a giant among men. And together with a stellar Magic, they crushed Boston 106-93. The Lakers were crowned champions, and Magic Johnson was named MVP of the finals. They had defeated their eternal rival in the final duel. 1987 was the year that Showtime reached perfection, and Magic Johnson sat, in his own right, on the absolute throne of world basketball. The 1988 season began with a phrase that resounded like thunder throughout the league. During the 1987 Parade of Champions, Pat Riley guaranteed that they would repeat the title, something that nobody had achieved in 19 years. A young Michael Jordan dominated individually. Jordan took the season MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year award, and the scoring title in an incredible season by number 23. However, in the playoffs, Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls were eliminated by the Detroit Pistons in 5 tough games in the Eastern Conference semifinals. In the next round, in the Eastern Conference Finals, an era came to an end. The Boston Celtics, with a Larry Bird hindered by injuries, handed over the torch to the Bad Boys from Detroit, led by Isaiah Thomas and supported by Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, among others, who instilled fear. After years of defeats, the Pistons finally overthrew the Celtics in a brutal Eastern Conference Finals. The East had new owners. Magic's Lakers endured exhausting playoffs after 2 grueling 7-game series against the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. But Riley's promise remained intact, and the Lakers reached the finals once again. The 1988 Finals began at the Great Western Forum of Inglewood with the iconic kiss between Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson. The Pistons, however, did not respect the hierarchy and stormed the Forum in Game 1, led by Adrian Dantley. In Game 2, James Worthy prevented the Pistons from achieving another road victory. The series turned into a collision between Showtime and Detroit's suffocating defense. The series then moved to Motown, to the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan for the next 3 games. The Lakers won Game 3, led by Magic Johnson and James Worthy. But the Pistons crushed the Lakers in the next 2 games with a great Adrian Dantley, leaving the series 3-2 in favor of the Pistons with 2 games to play in LA. Back in LA for Game 6, the climax came in the third quarter one of the most dramatic in history. Isaiah Thomas suffered a terrible ankle sprain. Limping, almost unable to walk, he achieved a heroic feat by scoring 25 points in a single quarter as his ankle swelled by the minute. It seemed like Detroit would reach the sky. But a controversial foul by Bill Laimbeer on Kareem forced Game 7. The NBA had stolen the ring from the Pistons. With Magic and Kareem closely guarded, the figure of James Worthy emerged. On the most important night of his life, Big Game James put up a legendary triple-double with 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. Worthy carried the Lakers to a heartbreaking 108-105 victory and was named Finals MVP, sealing the last great victory of the '80s dynasty. Pat Riley kept his word. The Lakers became the first team in nearly 2 decades to achieve a back-to-back. Showtime had fulfilled its promise, but the Pistons had left a warning. The future was going to be painful. The 1989 NBA woke up with an obsession: the three-peat. Having fulfilled their promise of repeating as champions, Pat Riley and his Lakers were aiming for what no one had achieved in modern basketball: 3 consecutive rings. Magic Johnson, at the peak of his powers, led Showtime with absolute mastery, claiming his second regular season MVP. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Michael Jordan won another scoring title. However, this season belonged to one city: Detroit. The Bad Boys were not only the most hated team, they were now the strongest. With the addition of Mark Aguirre to complete the puzzle of Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Bill Laimbeer, the Pistons dominated the league with 63 wins, turning every game into a war. But the soul of the season was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's retirement. Every arena in the league paid tribute to the captain. In the playoffs, the Lakers advanced through the West with frightening perfection: 11 wins and 0 losses. 3 consecutive sweeps seemed to confirm that the three-peat was inevitable. Meanwhile, the Pistons swept through the East, overcoming the final obstacle of Michael Jordan's Bulls in series full of toughness to stop Chicago's number 23, only to meet their executioners a year earlier. The 1989 NBA Finals started badly for Los Angeles. Before the first game began, Byron Scott got injured, and the Pistons won the first game of the series, 109-97. In Game 2, the heart of the Lakers was broken. Magic Johnson suffered a hamstring tear. Without their starting guards, Showtime went dark, and the Pistons took a 2-0 lead in the series, thanks to Joe Dumars' 33 points. Detroit showed no mercy. The Pistons, led by a phenomenal Joe Dumars, who scored 31 points in Game 3, suffocated what remained of the Lakers. In Game 4, James Worthy's 40 points were not enough to prevent the Pistons from winning their first championship. With a 4-0 sweep, the Bad Boys avenged the previous year's defeat, proving that their physical defense was the new world order. Joe Dumars was named Finals MVP, but the image that remained for posterity was that of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, leaving the court for the last time to a thunderous ovations at the Forum. The crown was changing hands. The shine of the '80s gave way to the toughness of Detroit, and as the captain departed into the sunset, the NBA understood that an unrepeatable era had just come to an end.